Hello, we're Drexel TPED. We are the gold team, and we're presenting on our water-themed attraction in Central Florida titled Bermuda Brothers Touring Company. I'm Michael O'Gara. These are my teammates, Sawyer, Colin, and Aiden, and we hope you enjoy what we have in store for you today.
So the story is two brothers from Florida with a passion for the sea started a touring company to fund their underwater research. They invite you to take a ride on one of their submarines to explore the nearby shipwreck, the Misaela. According to legend, she was carrying a copious amount of treasure and wrecked by a mysterious kraken. Do you dare join the brothers and maybe pick up some treasure on the way? So our whole town is a sea town near a pier, and our attraction is going to be the last building right on the pier, right next to the water.
Here's the queue. This is the top-down view of the queue layout, which with a legend on the side to indicate each color represents. The pre-show and the post-show are both elevators, with emergency exits being located in each room.
So our pre-show is going to be pretty simple. The two brothers are going to be talking to you, and then of course one of the more wackier ones is going to tell his little secret about how he secretly wants to steal all the treasure.
So our ride vehicle is going to be a Mach-powered inverted coaster. So this is going to allow for some spinning motions as well. It's going to be inspired by a submarine, so it's going to have that iconic underwater orange tint to it. And we also want to include joysticks on our ride vehicle, so we can try and incorporate some interactivity with that spinning motion. So guests will be able to use that joystick to control which direction they're facing and introduce some unique storytelling aspects to this ride. Because of the vehicle that we're choosing to go with, this also means that our loading platform can be somewhat unique as well. It's actually going to be positioned horizontal to the direction of travel. This is going to make operations much easier, both for the operators and for the guests. It's going to have an unobstructed view of every single car in the train, so guests can easily see how the loading process works, and operators will be able to see the entire train at once and make sure that all the riders are exactly where they need to be.
Here are our animated figures. We have a whale tail that goes up and down. It's going down as we are leaving. As you can see to the left of each animated figure, I put where it would be on the coaster. We also have a turtle that swims with us through the reef. And finally, we have our kraken, where its one tentacle is going to go down over us as we're exiting the end of the ride.
So our ride audio is going to feature some of the brothers, showing you around and also secretly leading you to the treasure. And we're also going to have an original song with a pop punk surf rock aesthetic, and it's going to feature a ukulele bass to give it a more oceanic theme. And of course, the lyrics are themed to the two main characters.
So for our show scenes, we're going to introduce our main brother as we leave the station. He's going to give some exposition before we end up going into the open ocean, where we're going to see some fish, some various different aquatic mammals, and that's going to be right out of our station. Then from the open ocean, we're going to see our whale tail. So this is going to be this massive animatronic as the position of the vehicle is banked upwards. So it's going to come right down on top of you. And as it does, you're going to swerve into the coral reef, where we're going to have a bunch of active animatronics. We're going to have some colorful reefs. And if you look around, you can also have this winding pathway where guests can kind of position the ride vehicle however they want. Then you're going to approach this shipwreck, and the brothers are going to be bickering a little bit as we go into there to try and find some treasure. But as we go in there, we also come face to face with the Kraken. As we get to the captain's quarters, where most of the treasure will be, the Kraken will be reaching into the building, looking through the windows, and trying to get at the ride vehicle before they lurch into this fast speed section coming up next, where you're racing through the rest of the ship. The Kraken's breaking through the boards as you go and swerve into a cave where you come face to face with it, and you have to fight with it to get out of there alive. So during this section, you're going to be blasting it with torpedoes with those joysticks, and they're going to be projected onto this Kraken figure. Then from there, you're going to swerve back outside of that cave to safety and go back into the open ocean, where you're going to see some of the familiar friends that you met throughout the ride, such as the fish, the turtle, and of course the whale. And this is just a general aspect of the open ocean, where you're kind of going with the flow of the water. But this layout will show a bit more of what it is going on. Keep in mind this is at 2x speed, so it's going to look a bit jumpier than normal. So as you can see, we start with the spiel by one of the brothers before going into this open ocean section where there's going to be a lot of flowing turns before you get banked upwards to face the whale tail as it comes down on you. Once it does, you swerve around that corner into the reef section. And at this point, guests are free to look around. You're going to be swerving in and out of rockwork, seeing different animatronics around you. And then you're going to approach this massive show set of the ship. And all the while, the onboard audio is going to have the voices of the brothers bickering on what to do next, where to find the different treasure, and the ship is where they think you should go. So you start on the lower level, looking around kind of slowly before going up to the captain's quarters, looking for the good loot. But you come to a full stop there as you start to look around. As you do that, though, the Kraken's breaking through the sides, and the brothers are starting to get worried before you lurch into this fast speed section. These holes in the ground are going to be the Kraken reaching up. You dive into this different cave, come face to face with the Kraken. You're blasting it with different torpedoes. As it's all exploding, you escape out into the open ocean and go back into our unloading platform. Over on the right, you can also see some of the time frame of these different scenes.
So our post-show is going to be going down the elevator because you went up for the pre-show, and it's just going to be some underwater scenes that the brothers explored, and there's going to be no dialogue here. It's just going to be a bunch of ambiance.
Yes.
Here are block zones. So basically, a block zone is very simple. It just kind of sets what scene of each part of the coaster is going to be. So you have the open ocean, coral reef, etc. Pretty basic.
So one of the main factors of this ride that we wanted to consider was the space constraint. We were limited to 100,000 square feet, and for our design, the show building takes up the majority of that at around 61,000, and the queue has 37,000, leading to a total of 98,700 square feet. So this is still a relatively small scale attraction for how long it is, with it being around 3 minutes. It's also thrilling for families without being too scary for young children at a max speed of 20 miles an hour, max height of 27.7. So most of the thrilling elements comes from the spinning and different show sets that we include. Because of that ride vehicle, it's also an innovative storytelling ride that is not really seen in many places around the world. The ride capacity is also pretty good. We have a theoretical throughput of 1440 riders per hour. When you incorporate around a 1 minute dispatch interval with the separate unload and loading stations, it lowers to around 1080 riders per hour.
As for the safety, it is pretty simple. The guests will go to the nearest emergency exit in the queue with the pre-show elevator having 2 exits for both locations, the top and bottom. On the ride, there will be exit points for where the coaster is close to the ground for easy dismounts and exiting.
For the ASTM standards, we also wanted to consider the maximum amount of forces as well as what class of restraint we'd want to be looking at. So the maximum vertical G-forces on this ride is 2 Gs, with the minimum being 0.5. As for the spinning motion, it means that our lateral G-forces can act in any direction. So that's going to be 1.2 Gs, pushing us to area 3. So a class 3 restraint would be required for this attraction. As for accessibility, we obviously want to keep it matching all the ADA standards. So with that horizontal loading platform, it is very open and allows for wheelchair riders to transfer very easily from their wheelchair to the ride vehicle. We'd also have 1 seat on one of the trains that allows for a larger guest so that they can also experience the attraction. However, that would only be implemented on one of the trains rather than all of them, as well as service animals would not be permitted on this attraction because it would be inverted. So a service animal would have to sit with a non-riding member of the party. With that, we hope you enjoyed our presentation. We had a lot of fun making this over the course of these 2 months, and we are very excited to show it off to you. So thank you very much, and we hope you have a wonderful day.